Hello SLAPAFISH community, welcome back to another World Tanks called Scythe. So in this video, I'm going to be going over the Reaper's Scythe, which is a tier 8 mercenary Warhammer medium tank, which is also Object 430U put at tier 8. So that's kind of cool because the Object 430U is really known for its armor. And speaking of this armor, the armor does work. It works really nice when you're in tier 8 and nobody's shooting your lower plate, because the lower plate is pretty weak at 105. Your turret armor is 270 at the front, and your upper hull armor is 130. So right there, that's really good for a tier 8, especially for a medium tank. So yeah, those are quick armor stats about this tank. Didn't think that was going to happen that quick. Anyway, the Reaper's Scythe, it's a great tank. Been loving this tank. This tank is like one of my favorites. It's got 1,300 hit points. It does have like very few amount of view range at 370, which does suck. I mean, it's got to have a weakness somewhere. I mean, the armor's really good. The gun is really good. Now, the gun fires AP, hash, and high explosive. Yes. So it's AP, hash, then high explosive. That's why you see me like have a ton of the middle round right there. So your normal round does 440 damage. Find it? Yeah, 440 damage. If you load hash, it's got 530 damage. So that's really nice. Its penetration on its standard is 212. Its premium penetration is 165 on its hash. So if you pen with hash, you're doing like 530. Your reload time is 14.5 seconds. Aim time is 2.3. And accuracy is 0.4. And as you can see, if you can manage to switch between the two shells whenever you want to, it helps out really a lot on this tank. Now, let's actually go for the equipment and crew skills I have loaded out on this tank. Now, I have the gun stabilizer, advanced loader, and the advanced reloader. So I can switch between shells. So if I need to fire the AP or the hash, I can switch between whichever I need to. And it comes real handy, very quickly. Now, let's talk about the skills I have. I have rapid loading, born leader, steadying, armor angling, situational awareness, sixth sense, muffle shot, camouflage expertise, and general mechanic. Now, how often do I use general mechanic on other tanks? Not very often, but I couldn't figure out what other skill I should put on this tank. But yeah, it works. You can always switch out general mechanic for any other skill. But hello 5100. Goodbye. So far, we took absolutely no damage to 3,600 damage, 1,000 block. When this thing is top tier, this tank just absolutely wrecks. It really does. Imagine a dragon with armor. And there you go. But when you get to tier 10, especially tier 10 and tier 9, your armor doesn't hold up as good as it does in tier 8, obviously. But it can hold up. Because remember, that's still 130 millimeters of angled armor right there. And 270 on its turret. So it can ricochet some shots into tier 10. Tier 9s can struggle to bounce off you. But you really don't want to play this tank as a heavy tank in like tier 9s or tier 10s. Because you're not a heavy tank. You're a medium tank. But you can play that heavy tank role in tier 8s. Because you have the armor too. But you also can play that medium tank role. But you also got to watch out for people shooting your lower plate. Because some reason all these Warhammer tanks have really terrible lower plates. And I don't understand why. Now here's a shotgun. Got to plow through everything over here. Oh yeah, I didn't talk about the speed. The speed of this tank. I talked about the armor. I talked about the gun. I talked about how terrible the view range was. But I didn't tell you about the mobility. So, mobility, it's 48 forward, 18 reverse, with a power to weight ratio of 14.29. So it's not too bad for the amount of armor that it gets. Also, if you end up liking this video, consider subscribing because it's free and helps out channel a ton. And that was a really nice shot on the Gornage because I saved that tank destroyer because that Gornage was gonna ram that tank destroyer to death. I ruined somebody's day by saving somebody's day. Cool. Really nice shot on that 1375. So yeah. But yeah, I've been in that situation where the Gornage was, where you're like running down a hill in the Gornage and you're expecting to run right over somebody. It's going to be a hilarious thing, and somebody kills you right before you get there. And you're like, dadgummit. But hey, look, I get to be that person this time. So cool. So that's how that feels. Anyway, diving back, easy. We did 5,100 damage. Quite easy. This tank's fun. It's pretty powerful, especially when it gets top tier. It can do okay in bottom tier. And yeah. That's it for this video. Remember, like, comment, and subscribe. Also, remember, SLAPAFISH because war's not. And peace out. See ya.